Every single time he's been on the show, go wherever you want. Probably the guy that you have had the most abrasive, the most on-again, the most off-again relationship with is Vince McMahon. You came on the show in 1997 and talked about Survivor Series, about how he had betrayed you, about how you smacked him and all of that. Sitting here today in 2003, do you still hate the guy?
No, I don't. Well, hate's a big word, but I don't know.
Just so you know, Bret, I'll bail you out of anything. I'm not bailing you out of this one. Do you still hate Vince McMahon?
No, I think I've moved on past that a little bit. I certainly don't forgive what he did. I don't care for how they justify. You know, they try to minimize it all today like it was nothing, and it was part of it. It was just doing business, and it was never about business. It was just about being dishonest and unfair. And I've never been too happy with what they did, but when I had my stroke, he called me in the hospital, and I was such a wreck at that time that he actually caught me completely off guard. It was just Vince McMahon on the phone, and I think I thought it was a nice gesture anyway, and we talked a little bit, and I was, like I say, pretty feeble and pretty devastated, and I didn't even know what to say. And we started talking, and I had a friend of mine that's working on a coffee table book with me at the time, and he does all these really first-rate, guy named Alan Turowitz doing these coffee table books, who I'd seen in Montreal like 4 days before this stroke, and this is like 6 days later, and he was doing this coffee table book, and we were talking about pictures. I said, I don't have any. I don't have access to any of my shots with the belts and all that kind of stuff, or my footage. And so then when Vince called, it was the first thing I asked him. I said, I have a guy doing a coffee table book, and we just had a little talk about it. He said, you can, because he made this promise to me once before, actually at my brother Owen's funeral, and he went back on his word there. But we talked that day, and he goes, just have him call me, anything you want. And I thought that was a good sign and a nice gesture. And I thought, for me, I have to find a little closure too. I don't want to keep dragging around all this bitterness and hard feelings towards Vince McMahon for forever. I don't know what happened I still don't know what happened with my brother Owen, because it never went to trial, and no one ever justified or explained to me what happened, including Martha or anybody else. It just, someone paid for that to be put away, and that's sealed in a box somewhere. But I mean, once I kind of realized there's nothing I can do to get back to that, to carry it around and have, it's just a big weight on your back all the time. And I had enough weight on my back when I had the stroke, so I just thought, here's a chance to kind of, he's offering an olive branch, and I thought it would be in best interest for me and my family even. And I have nephews in my family that have aspirations to wrestle, and they want, if you're gonna get into wrestling, where are you gonna go? And I didn't want them to feel like they couldn't go work for Vince if they want to someday. I have a nephew, Ted, who's actually quite a good wrestler, and Davey Boy's son, Harry. They're both great little wrestlers, and I think they are a little hesitant to go work for Vince, and maybe Vince is hesitant to hire them.
I gotta ask you this, though. Knowing what you know now, the way your life has evolved, the way wrestling has been, I'm sure the best thing that ever happened to you and the worst thing. If they were your kids, would you try to keep them away from wrestling?
Yeah, I mean,